Welcome back to Bonanza Disc Golf. I just got home from the Discmania Challenge, and I'm officially off the Pro Tour, not going to any Pro Tour stops for the rest of the year. I might sneak out to a major, the USDGC, if I can Monday qualify for that. But I want to talk about the final round a little bit, but mostly kind of how the season went for me. So this is a little bit of retrospective. I'm going to throw some clips from the last round of the Discmania Challenge, and I'll actually give you kind of what I was thinking on the day real quick before that, kind of what intro I meant to film for that video before I decided, hey, I just want to throw the good shots over me talking about kind of what happened for the year. Even though I played really well for like 11 or 10 holes, 9 holes really, and then I threw a pretty bad upshot in hole 10, but we'll get to that as we get to it. Discmania Challenge round 3, this is the intro to that video, and then we'll get back to kind of just the overall season and what's going to happen moving forward. And thank you guys for getting very close to 50K. Not quite there, but I knew it was a long shot to get that many subscribers based on the trajectory of subscribers on my channel, which is not a big deal. It's just a fun vanity metric, and 50K is a nice round number. That being said, roll my normal intro, and then we'll chat about Discmania Challenge yesterday, which was the final round, and come back here to muse about the season. Just dropped my wife and baby off at the airport here in Des Moines, and I'm about to head off to my tee time. Got moved up pretty early. It's at 9:40. It's supposed to be at 10:40, but they moved everything up an hour for thunderstorms. Last day of the Discmania Challenge, last Pro Tour round of the year, and I'm pretty excited for that. I'm very excited to get back on tour next year, but I'm definitely glad that I'll be taking the rest of the year off, and we'll talk about that a lot over the footage from the round. I've yet to shoot a 1,000 rated round this tournament. I have shot a 928 rated round, though. So let's try to shoot 1,000 rated today, but ultimately I'm just trying to enjoy my last round out here. It's been a great week, and I'm not like burnt out like I was at Kansas City Wide Open where I was pissed at everything, but I do feel like I spent a lot of energy making videos, which is the right thing for me to be doing this week, and then spending the rest of the energy with my family, and there's very little left over for playing even decent disc golf, which has been okay, but I think I can turn it around, just get some extra focus, and hopefully play a solid final round. But I gotta get to the course because I'll probably be arriving pretty close to when I need to be teed off. Final day here with Riley. I packed the bag. I think at the end of the round, I'm just gonna give away most of my bag, except for probably my putting putters and some other discs, because I would save them for USDGC. I'm planning on building a new bag in Denver anyways, and don't have a lot of great memories from this week with the discs. I have a lot of great memories from the week, so I might as well put them in someone else's hands at the end of this round. So I stacked it with a couple other discs that I didn't throw this week, but don't tell anybody. They're definitely all used. So hopefully today is a better round. We're gonna enjoy it. It should storm a bit, which is not fun, but
let's go.
If you have anything that you ever want to force me to do on the course, just tell me which disc to throw and I'll do it today. I'm coming for you, buddy. All right, welcome back. Dark Danza, of course, here with the hood up. I had to break out the old Infinite hoodie because I don't know where the one that I was wearing the last couple days in the Airbnb is in here. But the season went not at all how I expected. I was thinking that I was going to be going to Europe to play Worlds, and that just didn't end up happening. I think we canceled that even before the KC Wide Open happened, which was my first Pro Tour event, which it feels like it was not that long ago, but it feels like it was also forever ago. Kansas City Wide Open was sometime in May, and right now it's the last day of June. As you guys are seeing this, I was able to complete my daily videos from, I think it was the 16th to the 30th of June. Yay, we made it happen. The giveaway does not have to be doubled, but it will be going on, and I am going to be putting in probably 3 or 4 discs from my bag. The season was interesting because it was so short. It was less than 2 months for me, and a lot happened. I played 5 total events, 4 of them on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, 1 of them on the Go Through Tour, and I kind of bookended it with really atrocious performances. Kansas City Wide Open, I was really kind of building it up for myself and really excited to go and play there, and I got to Kansas City and then traveling with a baby and my wife, both of us trying to work, was just not really working, but I was getting frustrated about it because I was really trying to like practice well, and I didn't get as many videos done as I would have wanted, and they weren't as good as I would have wanted. And then I played, and I just played atrocious, and first round I was like, hey, this is okay, this is how it's going to be for the first round. I'm getting in the swing of things. And then I just didn't care that I played so bad for the last 2 rounds. But I was very mad at myself. And I was just mad in general because I had really fought for like my identity as trying to like be a pro at disc golf. And then everything was so dissonant because I wasn't able to be good for my family. I wasn't able to make good content. I wasn't able to play good disc golf. And so I realized, especially with kind of the things that if I'm going to prioritize correctly, which is going to be my family, making sure that that is the number one and I have time for them, and I'm also making like enough money for them, which includes making the best content that I can, and that's also what I enjoy the most, then that means kind of putting the pro side of things not like away, but on the back burner, or at least in a different level of importance for me. And that took a lot of kind of time to understand. I've had a lot of long drives. Today was a 9-hour drive. I actually broke it up with a pretty sweet course that I'm excited to share. I filmed it and got a video for you guys coming out. Ooh, even darker Danza. Garage light went out. But I've had so many long drives to just kind of think and listen to some content. But ultimately, after Kansas City Wide Open, I really realized, okay, I'm just going to be a hobby pro and really focus on my content more. But I think there's kind of like an ego shedding that had to happen over these last couple months that I think will still have to happen over the course of the next few. And luckily I'll be home in Denver for basically the rest of the year. I'm actually taking a small little family vacation this next week, so not daily videos continuing through there, but I will actually still have a lot of stuff still coming for you guys that I have filmed already, and then I will film over the next 2 days before I leave to go to Ohio for 4th of July and take some time, not really throwing too much, but I do actually still have a video plan there. Like I said, this is going to be a really crazy video. But there's kind of like an ego shedding that started to happen in Kansas City Wide Open. And I was like, oh, thank goodness I'm done with it. And I took like 2 weeks off from doing anything, basically. Didn't throw a disc and play. And then I just like played 4 videos before I went to the Pacific Northwest. I wasn't really enjoying disc golf very much. And I thought that I had really like got back to basics and shed everything. And then in the Pacific Northwest, I didn't play bad, actually. I had a really bad first round at the Cascade Challenge, which is the first tournament back. And then I kind of brought it back and averaged 1,000 for that tournament, and then cashed at the GoThrow events at Kayak Point. And then I averaged 998 or 999 at the Northwest Disc Golf Championship, even though I didn't make the cut. And I was making some decent videos, but it wasn't really the main focus. I was kind of still splitting my focus and trying to figure out, like, okay, what does it look like with family? What does it look like making good videos? What does it look like trying to play good disc golf and be a pro? And I still don't think I've struck the right balance, which is kind of funny because I played good, but I really felt like I got a good balance this week in Des Moines for the Discmania Challenge, but it came with a really bad result, which I think is a culmination of like a different type of burnout. In Kansas City, I was burnt out from trying to be a pro and really pursuing that, and it was like making my content worse, and it was making me make less money than I could have, which affects like how I can provide for my family with my wife, with us trying to move and my wife leave her job so that she can stay at home, and thinking about that coming up pretty soon, while also not being nearly where I need to be disc golf wise. If that was to be something that would have more immediate results for me, that was kind of just a tough realization, and I was really burnt out because of all that striving and like it just not being something that could work. And this week I played really bad, but I didn't care as much, but I was burnt out in a different way. It was more, I think I put my focus in the right places. And so like, I'm not even burnt out on playing disc golf. I still want to play, and I didn't want to play at all, basically for Kansas City Wide Open. And then even through the PNW, I just didn't really enjoy playing. And even going into Des Moines, I like didn't know what I was going to like, but I came out of this week actually wanting to play more, even though I've traveled so much and I'm very tired right now, and didn't play good disc golf in the tournament. I wasn't planning on shooting this video I did today, but I was just driving and I was like, what's the best course in Nebraska? I've never played in Nebraska. I got to play there. And I was like, oh, it's an hour and a half away. Let's go play. And I waited out this crazy thunderstorm, and that video is going to be insane, but I want to play more. And it's been more enjoyable. Making videos has been much more enjoyable. And I realized that that's kind of what was better. I focused a little bit more on community and hanging out with people that I wanted to hang out with last week. Focused a lot on my family, making sure that I was around and doing my obligations as at the top tier as good as I could while still being tired from the tournament and the content, because it is a work trip for me to go and play on tour, because it's mostly just making content. And the Creator Challenge was awesome, and I've got to meet a lot of good people, but it helped me to really make a bunch of videos, still put up daily content while doing the Creator Challenge, while playing on the Pro Tour. And yeah, it didn't leave a lot of focus for the actual play, and it was hard because I was shanking so much during practice and really wasn't getting comfortable with my discs. And coming from Denver back down to sea level, even if I didn't really change the bag too much from the Pacific Northwest, it's still just different, and it's not going to be easy. And I just didn't give myself the time to practice. Well, I didn't really let myself, because it wasn't the main focus. And I think I'm coming out of this week with one of my worst tournament finishes. This is the most amateur I've felt playing disc golf in a very long time. You can likely not see that too much because I'm probably just showing a lot of good shots from this round. And that's the thing, is like my form and my play. Someone commented it on the first day video, but it just is like bad decision making. And like I have the shots, and I feel like shooting 5, 6, 7 down at this course for the Des Moines Challenge, this Mania Challenge, isn't something that's out of the cards for me, but I just can't see myself putting that round together right now because I'm not consistent like that. And that's okay for this week. And kind of coming to terms with that and really realizing how much more of a creator first I am was brought up by my wife a week or two ago as we were just casually talking about like the future and my crises that I've been going through. And one of the things that was interesting that she said is that like me pursuing being a pro disc golfer and like a pro athlete is likely a like big childhood dream, and that's because it is. Like, I don't know, I grew up playing a lot of different sports. Even though I'm 5'6", I was always small, but you can grow. And I grew up, basketball was my first sport that I loved, and I was like dreaming of being a professional basketball player. And then I stayed short, and I was like, oh, Muggsy Bogues, like looking at Spud Webb, you're like, oh, I could still do it. And there's always this dream of being a pro basketball player. And then I got into soccer, and it's like, oh, what can I do? Like, can I play into this whatever team? And there's like this childhood dream inside of probably a lot of you watching this, but at least me as well, where like being a pro athlete sounds so cool. And it's something where like it is kind of attainable for me. If I really wanted to, like I could drop everything and I could be so much better at disc golf. But that's kind of like the child in me that is wanting to come out and do that. But I'm an adult with adult responsibilities and a family that I love that is the main priority, and a business and a content creation thing here, which honestly to me is more important and a bigger passion of mine than being a pro athlete. But it kind of took her saying that for me to realize it's like, yeah, this is something that's cool. And I do want to cultivate that. Like I do want to continue working on being a pro. And there's going to be content about that. And there's going to be stuff that I do behind the scenes just to get better at disc golf and hopefully win more MPO tournaments and play more on tour next year when it's more feasible. And hopefully for many, many years to come, be involved in the professional side of disc golf. But like, it doesn't have to come at a specific time frame. And being a pro athlete doesn't have to mean like doing all the things that I see like, oh, if you're a true pro, you do this. That's just not what it's going to be like for me. I'm going to be more like the part-time pro, if any pro at all. I'm still very semi-pro, very amateurish, as you can see in this tournament. Like, I'll have these moments, and hopefully eventually I'll have a moment where I cash, or hopefully I'll eventually have a moment where like I'm just way better and it's consistent and I don't even have to try as hard. But my really, really bad isn't like 950 for the weekend. It's like 1,010, maybe. And maybe that never happens. And I'm honestly, for the first time probably ever after this weekend, I'm very okay with both possibilities. And I think that'll lead, more likely than not, to me being on average better because there's less pressure that I'm putting on myself. But it also helps me really dive into like the adult passions and the non like childlike passion and excitement that I have for trying to be a pro, and like really focusing in on growing a very sustainable business here on YouTube with this channel and some other things that I'm wanting to work on as well, that I think will take more time away from like all of my extra free time going towards being a pro, but still some of it going to that, and more of it going to family that I'm taking away from trying to be a pro like I was at the beginning of this year, and more of it going to these other passions and endeavors that I want to pursue. And I'm really glad that we kind of had this truncated season where I played 4 Pro Tour events in like a 2-month span, and really honestly spent a lot of money, which is a little eye-opening too, where it's like, man, this is a big expensive hobby that I have, and it's what it is it's a hobby, and I can afford it, which I'm very grateful for you guys that I can afford it. But it is like an expensive hobby of me putting money into Ganniber's pocket every time that I go and play on the Pro Tour. But I kind of justify it because it's like, well, I get to film with the pros, and they add extra exposure to my channel and extra credibility. But it's like, man, if I just film 5 really banger reviews, I probably actually net out a decent bit more money because I don't have $1,500 to $2,000 of travel expense every single week like I do when I'm traveling on the road. All that to say, the kind of disc golf side of things and how I'm playing, as you've noticed with Dark Danza and how these last couple recap videos have been from day 1 to day 2 of this tournament, if you've seen those, it's been significantly less on like me putting pressure on the disc golf and trying to really break that down in a major way, and that being like super important. And it's been a little more fun and lighthearted, which is how kind of I started in disc golf. And then I realized, man, I could be a pro. And I still really do have a belief in myself that it's like, man, if I dropped everything that was important to me and just focus on the disc golf thing, I think I could be maybe not top guy in the world, but I could be a consistent casher. I could make a living as a professional disc golfer. But this kind of came into my life at a point where I was already married, and then we had a kid during this, and that's something that is significantly more important to me than being a pro athlete, even though like it is fun for my inner child to like want to try to do it. It's not worth it for me, even if I believe that it was possible, and I was trying to have everything all at once. And that's just not a very mature way of going about things. and I need to like make the right decision. And honestly, that decision for me is focusing significantly more on just making really good content, which is kind of semi-ironically like what I think everybody wants anyways, is better content. And like, if I play good, great. And I think also it's a little bit of an ego death where, in a sense, I would try to portray myself as a pro and working towards that, knowing that it's like an aspirational identity. And it is a little bit like vulnerable to like put that out there and be like, hey, this is what I'm working towards. Because then people can judge you based on that, which is very fair. I think if people think that I am trash because of the expectations that they may have perceived me putting out there, fine. Like, I don't think that's exactly how I put it out there, but I can see how it would be construed that way. And I have no ill will towards how anybody views me, honestly. Ultimately, how I'm viewed is not as consequential to me right now as it has been before, because I think it was so important to me before because I was trying to put out this front of like being the pro, and like I was working towards that, but I would always know that I'm having to attain to that and try to get there. And this week's the first time where I just shoot absolutely atrocious. I finished over 100th place for the first time ever on the tour. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, if people are going to think that I'm really bad because of that, yeah, I played really bad this week. They're not wrong about that. If people think, oh my gosh, he's so much better than that, what happened? Yeah, I believe that too. I understand that like I'm going to have significantly more nuance for myself than anybody on the outside looking in. And I before would put a lot of stock in how I was perceived, and I would try to protect that image. And I think there's like levels to it where it's like, yeah, I'm going to portray myself as honestly and authentically, but also positively as I can be. But you can't like control how other people perceive that. And that was something that I didn't really grasp too well up until like the last week or so, where I just really have continued to enjoy people not really caring where I finish and meeting me and getting my autograph and taking pictures and being excited. And I get to like just talk with you guys about your local courses. And that's where I think my place is in disc golf for sure for the long term. And hopefully there's some pro stuff sprinkled in there. But I was trying to really force the pro thing on top of myself as a creator in the disc golf space who's providing entertainment.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe the pro thing comes, maybe it doesn't. But kind of became all consuming, which is not healthy for me personally, for me business-wise here, making videos, or ultimately for what me as a non-child wants. I really like making videos, and I like kind of being jack of all trades in a lot of things, and I haven't pursued hobbies or interests or skills besides disc golf for a long time, and I'm excited to go after those. And there will be content coming out about that, because I think kind of my main thing is I love entertaining and I love making videos. And so there will be more channels that maybe you'll find, maybe you'll never find. They'll be out there. Hopefully they do well, maybe they don't. But I'm going to continue working towards being a pro. I'm going to continue making lots of content here. I know it's the end of daily videos, but I don't anticipate putting out less than 15, 10, 12, 15 videos a month, likely closer to the 20 to 25, because I just like making a lot of stuff. And I have hundreds of video ideas in my notes app, and discs are constantly coming out, and I just like making stuff, and I want to continue my ability to create. Wow, we're losing even more lights. And I don't even know if this is like the final form of like the death of a dream, quote unquote, where me trying to be a pro is not important. Maybe it becomes more important down the line. Maybe it becomes even less important somehow. But to me, it's something that like I'm excited to continue pursuing. But whether or not I achieve it, I care significantly less now. And I also care significantly less what other people think about it. Because that was honestly one of the things that kept me going, is like if you put externally out there, it's like, hey, I want to do this. I have a goal of getting a tour card. And then you go and you finish a millionth place on the pro tour. Like the external pressure of getting there makes me want to work harder, and it just doesn't anymore. Like that last bit of motivation was coming externally rather than internally anymore. And now I'm significantly more excited to pursue it from an internal place, because I don't care where I finish or what people think of my journey as much as I did before. So last thing I'm going to say is I was listening to this quote, and I forgot, honestly, what it was. But I think it really pertained to my career in disc golf. And it was the last quote of this video by Adam Ragusa. And so I'll leave you with this, and hopefully you enjoyed watching the videos, and hopefully you enjoyed the daily videos. And I'm very excited for what is to come. Little moody, musing, rambly video for you, as hopefully you've come to like on the channel. And if not, and you've watched this much, drop that dislike down there for you, boy.
No, but it's good that I have
Here
to
it
think
is.
about these things, don't you think? Assuming you're working from a basic level of minimal fundamental competency, it probably makes a lot more sense to obsess over why we do what we do rather than how we do what we do. That's an important lesson that I learned over in the kitchen, and that's a real important lesson I've learned here in this room too.
So that video is about cooking internet and lifting internet, both things I'm actually very interested in. But I heard that quote and it really stuck with me, and I knew I had to include it in this video because I feel like I have a basic level, I have a pretty high level of competence in disc golf, and now probably a higher level of understanding and competence than most people, even disc golfers at my skill level or better, about the Pro Tour. But I really need to re-examine the why. I know the what. I know what it's going to take to get to that next level. I know what I need to do. But am I the person who wants to just sit in my backyard grinding out putts all the time or going over form all the time? And like, sometimes, yes, I am a very sporadic person, as you know. And sometimes I'm going to want to just sit out there and make a million putts. And that's really weird, but I'm going to want to do that. And maybe there's a season, not saying right now or not, because I'm going to be doing more form things behind the scenes and then eventually making big, like a long form video about them. Maybe I don't. Hey, I'm not even committing to that. But that's kind of the plan for now for like some bigger form goals and cues. And then maybe I never touch it again, or maybe I don't touch it for a long time. But examining the why rather than the what has kind of been what these 2 months on tour have been for me, with a significantly new context. Like having a baby, it completely reimagines my life. Because before I had my baby girl, I would think about, oh, these are the things that I want to do. And yeah, she'll fit into that picture. And then she gets here, and now like that picture just basically gets put to the wayside, and I want to paint a new one. I don't even care about that old picture. Yeah, I want to take elements from that and put that in the new picture, but like her personality and her as a person is so much different than her as a concept, and it changes fundamentally so much of the why of the things that I do. It doesn't change the what. That's still there. Like, I need to throw a little farther. I need to throw significantly more consistent. I need to adjust my form so that I'm not throwing into the ground consistently and that I can run up and down hills and still throw good shots. I need to make more putts. I need to have better decision making. And I think these are all things that I could really drill in and work on. But that's not why I'm doing what I do, or ultimately what I even want to do, which is a part of that why. There's many ways to get there. I don't even really know if the there is the same there that it was a year ago, and no, I do know it's not. Because even though to me it'd be really cool to be like a professional of an athlete, that's just not the reality for where I am in life, and it will never be. It's never going to be the reality for me to like have the discipline of an Ezra Aderhold to do what he has done with his training and systematically getting better at disc golf, not just getting jacked, of course. That's just never going to be my reality. And I thought it was, and I really worked towards it, and I tried, and it was so dissonant with the direction that the rest of my life and family was going that it caused all of this kind of tension that has unraveled and boiled over in the last 2 months. And this is where we are. I think a really good and exciting place moving forward, but very different than where I would have thought we would have been 3 months ago. And very different finishes, too. I know I'm better than 103rd place or 100 and whatever I got. But I didn't prove it. So, can I really say I'm better than that? More good stuff coming for you over the next couple days. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed my coverage of the Disc Mania Challenge last round. This was definitely not what I thought this video would be when I went into this week. But I'm glad that it is what it is. If you watched this far, you're a real one. I think most people clicked off about 20 minutes ago. See you soon. Shout out Riley. I can't believe you made me play this bad.
I know. It's my bad.
I know. That's a good caddy. He blames himself. Let's go. This is a blast, though.
Yeah. Fun weekend.
I'm glad to be done with touring this year. It's been hard, but I'm excited to tour next year. Things are close. It's just I'm not putting anything together.